Welcome to this month's edition of the Cho Woon series. This is part 11 and we're going to be looking at the Ahneso Phaku Chagi, the in-to-out crescent kick. Now just before I start, there are many ways to do an in-to-out kick. There's the straight leg kick, I call this the stretch kick, Ahneso Phaku Olyogi, I guess would be the Korean, or the chiki, the axe kick. So this is not a tutorial on the straight leg stretch kick, and this is not a tutorial on the axe kick. We might look at those later. First off, you need to understand that the knee needs to make as big a circle as possible. When you first start doing this, the range of motion on the hip will be small, but as you get more flexible and more used to the movement, you'll be able to make this wider and wider. You're trying to lift your knee up and draw a straight line circle as far out of your body as you can, and then return the kick. A very important thing to allow this to happen is to turn the front foot out. If your toes are just pointing forward, you won't be able to get the start of the kick because it works like an arch. It starts on one side of your body, so if you're kicking the right leg, it starts on the left shoulder and finishes on the right shoulder. If you're kicking with the left, vice versa. So you need to bring your knee up as high as possible and make these circles. And just keep doing that over and over again until you don't feel any pain or resistance. A great game for making sure you're doing this correctly is what I call stepping over the fence, or in the example I'm using here, stepping over the belt. You step over it, and you can step over it a number of ways. I've given you a couple of examples, but basically you need to lift that knee as high as you possible, like you were stepping over a belt or a ring or a fence. So once you've got that, you've pretty much got the fundamentals of the kick. Like I said earlier, the kick works in 3 parts. There is a snap to the kick. So as you lift the knee as high as possible, this is when you extend the leg. And you're only going to extend that leg for a fraction of a second and then return it back to where it is. A lot of people will lift up that knee, lovely, kick down, and then drop their leg straight down. That's no good. It needs to return with the knee bent to protect yourself. When you see the kick done very quickly, it looks like the leg is straight from the beginning. But if you think about it, your leg is very heavy, whereas lifting your knee is very easy. So you need to lift your knee to get that power, to generate that speed, and then kick across. Some common mistakes now that I see very often is people telegraphing the kick with their hand. They want to generate as much power in the kick as possible, so they sway their arm out before they kick, or sometimes, in some cases, both arms. Keep your arms tucked. If you need to hold on to your dobok, as we've mentioned before in previous kicking seasons, do that. Do not telegraph the kick because it gives it away. Another common mistake is looking down at your knee and you hunch over. All kicks, all movements in Tang upright, just like you're standing tall. So keep your chin up and don't look down at the kick because you will stop the height of the kick. Keep looking forward, focus on something in front of you so you have a target area to visualize. The next one is people not lifting that knee very high and wondering why they can't kick high. You need to lift your knee as high as possible. It needs to bring up above your belt, up to your chest, if possible, and then kick across, and then the kick will be easy. This will then lead on to more advanced kicks that I'm going to show you some of. I'm not expecting you to be able to do all these now, but if you follow the lifting the knee high and the flicking motion instead of the circular swinging motion, then you'll be able to generate spin kicks, jump kicks, and then jump spinning kicks. But it all comes on getting this one thing right, so I really can't stress that enough. Lift the knee high. Once you feel like you have the kick, you need to test it, and I have 3 tests for you, all very similar. The first one is the V game or the pyramid game. Your partner stands in front of you with their hands together quite low. Even start off in a horse riding kimajasa stance to begin with, so you can kick over the hands and get quite close to your partner. And then eventually they'll lift their hands higher and wider until it's wider than their shoulders. And if you can get your leg over their hands without hitting the hands, you know that the kick is going to have that power to generate a big arching circle. If you do not have a partner, an easy way is just kick over an object. Start with a chair and then you can work up to higher objects, whatever you have in the house. The next test is what I call the noise game. So a paddle is best for this, but you can use a pad, or you can even use your hand if you don't have access to pads. But the paddle is a great game because if you hit it with the straight leg or softly, or you don't generate that power in the knee, it will not make much of a sound at all. If you hit it correctly, the 2 pads will smack together and you'll make a very distinct noise. This is what I call instant feedback for the student. You know you've kicked that correctly, you know you've generated the power because it's made that noise. So that is what I call the noise game. The last one is, as I was saying earlier, that If you're doing the kick correctly, you'll be able to do the more difficult variations of the inside to outside. So please start with the inside to outside first, and then try a spinning inside to outside. What happens a lot of times is people can do the straight leg kick, fine, and when they get onto the advanced versions, they fail and they think they can't do it. The problem is you've been doing the straight leg kick over and over again, and then you can't do the jumping kicks, the skipping kicks, the spinning kicks, the jump spinning kicks. So just look at your technique and check that your basics are correct before you move on to these more advanced ones. And then you'll find the advanced kicks are obviously not easy, but easier because you're doing the technique correctly. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial on the inside to outside crescent kick. Don't worry, I will be doing one in the future on the outside to inside crescent kick, which is very similar but has a few changes. If you're enjoying the channel, please like and subscribe, and please let us know in the comments what techniques you'd like to see in the future. Thanks.